Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick. Welcome to another chapter of these reviewed games so far type things, of which there are many now, so watch them all, please do. This one is Sega Mega Drive games, what we've reviewed on the channel so far, 151 through to 200, so let's get started. Championship Bowling. Yes, it isn't the most exciting game in the world on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, but it does the very basics. If you're liking your bowling, then go for this. I prefer on the PlayStation 1 Tekken Tag, which had a mini bowling game. But Championship Bowling doesn't do a great deal here. Line up your bowls, fire your big orangey thing or red thing, and try and knock as many skittles down as possible. Very Japanesey in feel, so if you like that style, then and you like bowling, of course, then go with that. Star Trek DS9 Crossroads of Time, a sort of like arcade adventure where you're going around clicking on various bits and pieces, talking to various people to try and solve, I think, a murder or some sort of mysterious thing. I loved Deep Space Nine back in the day, the music was there. This doesn't have the original music of Deep Space Nine, and that's a big miss. There's this weird music going on in the background. You control Benjamin Sisko, although you can change to other characters, I think, later on to try and find out what is actually happening. Burning Force. Well, it's like a pseudo psycho 3D sort of game, a bit like Space Harrier, I suppose. Yes, you must survive as long as possible, avoid all the stuff going left and right. My success in these games are always a little bit random, as I go back, up and down in different zones, trying to shoot everything that comes at you, or at least avoiding them in these strange psychedelic mystery worlds. Yes, remember to blink when playing this game. Jurassic Park, a platformer. You play the Dr. Grant, and he fires lots of sort of like hand grenades in this, which he didn't in the movies. He's some sort of kung fu expert all of a sudden as well, and he's killing dinosaurs, which he didn't do in the original movie. It's quite atmospheric this, you don't get the Jurassic Park music in there, but it's got gorgeous backgrounds and good animation too. If you can get used to this, you're going to get a bit of fun out of the thing, but the Mega Drive was good at these sort of games. Home Alone, again based on the movie. I think this could have been done a lot better. Admittedly, although I like the Home Alone movies, I wouldn't watch them over and over again. You control Kevin. He's been stranded at home because his parents have gone on holiday, and you must set traps to capture burglars, not just in your own house, but in the whole town this time, so perhaps everyone's gone on holiday and left Kevin on his own. He must be very unpopular, this kid, when the whole town goes and leaves him, but there you go. Jeopardy, based on the US TV show, didn't quite make it to the UK, but it's pointing and typing in your answers against two fictional people. As you can see, they don't look overly super sexy, but anyway, you must get the right answers to complete the board, to get as much money as you possibly can, and win the day. There's me with my glasses and lovely haircut. Gaming is about an escape to try and be someone exciting for a while. Here you can be this fellow. What the hell's happening there? ESPN Speedworld. Now I know what you're thinking, what's going on here? It looks like a very basic Commodore Amiga game, very underpowered for the Sega Mega Drive, and it's poor. The frame rate is terrible, the sound is awful, and it could have been a lot better. I don't know how they got away with this one. You can only love it if you had no other games, but it feels very much like 8-bit rather than 16-bit. Maybe it would have done better on the Master System, but the Mega Drive, there's no excuse for this thing, where games generally are pretty good. The Jungle Book, based on that film from the 60s, or the late 60s, a cartoon. It's got the bare necessities music playing throughout. You control Mowgli over different stages, collect all the fruit, and get to the end. Not as graphically detailed as Jurassic Park, but it's more cartoony than that one, and there's a lot of good elements here. If you're a fan of the Disney cartoon, you'll actually lap this game up. It's a little bit tricky in places, but why not? There we go, bare necessities of life. Kid Chameleon, a platformer, a bit like a Mario, I suppose. It's got elements there where you're bashing stuff with your head and power-ups. So if you like games like the Great Giana Sisters, you'll probably like this as well, that come out on the Amiga. This is a Mega Drive. You can collect different helmets, which give you different powers there, and again, get to the end as quickly as you possibly can there. But interesting one. Might have fallen a little bit by the wayside with so many to choose from on this particular system. Side Pockets, it's a pool game. It gives you lots of different options, different types of pool. I don't know why these women are there into cutscenes, but the idea is you go to different tournaments around the US trying to win, but it's always the same game, basically. A nice aiming mechanism, not the most exciting, but it does give you pool. It feels like a bit of a mini game in GTA, but that's about it, really. If you like any of these short mini clips, then do check out the full reviews, so I'll give you a bit more information about the games themselves and play stupidly in this stress-busting world. Striker, yes, I first played this game on the Commodore Amiga, a little bit flickery, my version, but this one is more or less the same. It's up and down the field. I prefer kicking up because you can see the goal coming up, but it's easier than a lot of other football games. There's not too many with this perspective. It moves quite quickly, and you will get quite a bit of enjoyment from this. It's not licensed at all, so you won't get proper players are playing around the place. Good atmosphere going on. It's arcadey in feel, and you can score a goal without too much practice. Mortal Kombat 3, this game come out practically on everything. This is the third one in the series. As usual, it learns to pays to learn all the special moves of the different players throughout, and having a Mega Drive controller, it does give you a bit of a chance rather than what I used on the Amiga with just one fire button and stuff. Photo digitalized animation there. You might have played some of the most recent Mortal Kombat games. It's good to touch base on these original ones, trying to get the fatalities there as well. The Lion King, based on the film The Lion King, the animated one there. You control Simba first of all on his travels, and as the game progresses you will gradually turn into the lion and the king of the tribe. Gorgeous graphics, gorgeous sound. Would appeal to younger gamers, I think, more. It's not like your space alien blasting. A little bit in line with the Jungle Book, I suppose, although a little bit more modern subtext there. But as I say, great animation, good idea for a game. Mega Drive does these well. WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, based on the arcade game. Yes, there's lots of different modes of play here. 1 against 2, 1 against 1, Royal Rumble, and all the sort of things you can imagine. I think this was a big hit back in the day. Not to the same degree as Mortal Kombat 3, but there are special moves to learn with combos and different buttons there. It's a whole heap of fun, especially in multiple players there. Long live WWF, not the World Wildlife Fund. Next up is Splatterhouse II. It's a horror sort of like game based on things like Halloween and Mike Myers and all those terrible people. It's 2D, just walking backward and forward. It's a little bit spooky, so if I was playing it in the dark I might have got a bit scared back in the day. Here I am with my hitting stick, and we're trying to kill everything in a certain house before it kills us, which they generally do, don't they, in these horror sort of places. My favourite films are the Evil Dead trilogy of this sort of genre. The next one was Splatterhouse 3. Splatterhouse 1 didn't come out on the Mega Drive. This is more or less the same, although you can move up and down the screen, and there's a few extra power-ups too. There's more stuff going on inside the house, and it's more fun because of it. Better polish, better graphics, but again, good music again throughout the sort of like thing. It continues its overall spookiness, and you know, it's good. Some greater aliens there, or enemies, but God, I don't know what their ghosts are, but it's ain't pretty scary. Williams Arcade Greatest Hits issue 5 games from the arcades, which you might be able to see on the box in the top left. This one is Defender, and then it goes over to Joust, which come out on various other systems there, Spectrum, Commodore 64 and the like. But if you want some recreation of some of these games at your home, this would be the best one to get. It plays quite well, it's coded quite well, and on the physical review I think they've done, I think one of the writers has commented, which is quite nice. Crossfire, a vertical scrolling shooter, although you can go a little bit to the left or the right. It's very, very tricky. There are easier shooters out there, but it's all like with this helicopter in the style, a little bit of Swiv on the Commodore Amiga there, just go on and on and on, try and catch the different waves of the enemy. But Mega Drive has lots of these games. It's harder to get noticed, but this is okay. I suppose I wouldn't have been disappointed with this one back in the day. Crossfire. We're talking tennis now. Wimbledon Championship tennis. On the Mega Drive, I love Jennifer Capriati's tennis and Andre Agassi to a degree. Some I can hit the ball back, others I struggle for ages. This one's one of those ones where it seems to be slightly easier to control once you get used to the serving, and you do get this sort of like opportunity that you think you might win, or the inkling you might win. You know, a good angle of there, a good choice of shots to be perfected, lobs and drop shots and the like. Ghostbusters, based on the movie Ghostbusters. Here I am, we're playing Peter Venkman, I think, going up and down ladders. You control any of the Ghostbusters, but only one at a time. You're on different missions in different houses to destroy all the ghosts in Spook Central. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man does make does make an appearance at certain points in the game as well. It's very cartoony in feel, could be a bit better in terms of movie stuff, but it does what it says on the tin really, you can't really complain. The Flintstones, based on their cartoon, you know what I'm going to say, called the Flintstones. You control Red Flintstone, I forgot his name for a second there. It's one of the better Flintstone games, although it doesn't seem to have any in-game music. Spectrum version of the Flintstones are particularly boring, but you know, it doesn't compare with games like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff, but there is enough to solve. It's a little bit flat, but it has got elements there. When you compare it to other prehistoric games like Chuck Rock, it falls well behind there, but it does have the Flintstones license. Predator 2, you know, it's based on that film called Predator 2. You control Danny Glover's character here, shooting a gun all over the place, which he didn't do in the movie. It's also like 3D and it's like crazy isometric sort of like the style, but shoot everything, avoid the Terminators in this war-torn town, which is going absolutely insane in the membrane. If you haven't seen Predator 2, watch it. It's not as good as the original movie, to my opinion, but it's still there. I prefer seeing Arnie. Sunset Riders, this is from the arcades. We're in the Wild West over a number of stages. Hasn't got all the stages, which included in the arcade game. I think the arcade game has 8, this one has 4. Good end of level bosses. It's a western theme. It's 1 to 2 players and sort of like a run and gun shooter. It's a whole heap of fun in the style, I suppose, of Robocop, but set in the West there instead. It's good. I'd love to play the arcades. I think it is available on the PlayStation 4 as well. Good run and gun. A few of these coming up. Guns Are Heroes. This is another such one. Moves at lightning speed. Got great colours. Reminds me of the Sonic the Hedgehog colour set. But it's more destructive than that. Loads and loads coming at you at the screen the whole sort of like time. This would have been a very popular game back in the day. All my reviews are played as a perspective of your first or second go, and the footage reflects that also. But even as a newbie, you certainly can get a good distance on this one, blasting away like some crazed nincompoop in multiple directions. Block Out, a little bit flatter, come out on the Commodore Amiga as well. It's Tetris, but in a 3D. Does it work? I'm still not absolutely sure. But as soon as you get a whole line, in this case a base, that will disappear. If the pits, because it feels like you're chucking stuff down a well, if the pit fills up, that's it, it's game over. It's all about rotating these with the various buttons, which takes a little bit of practice to see where it goes below. The stuff will show different colours down the bottom to let you know what layers what, so that's half a chance, but not particularly exciting. Rolling Thunder 2, another one of these scroller shooters. You go indoors to get extra weapons and bullets. You're controlling this woman, although there's a choice of different characters there, and basically you're a secret agent and you're trying to stop these hoodlums from running the city, I think. I don't think Rolling Thunder 1 come out on the Mega Drive. I might be wrong there, but you can guess what game we reviewed after Rolling Thunder 2, didn't you? Hang on a minute, I might be able to tell you. It's Rolling Thunder 3. In some elements it's better than Rolling Thunder 2, in other elements it's not. I don't think you can choose as many characters to control, but the same thing as before, going through doors, getting bullets and guns, getting off levels, jumping over boxes and shooting your foes, and more importantly, if you haven't guessed already, do not get shot yourself. If you want more information about the game, as I said before, they're all in the playlist there on the channel page. Click on playlist and Mega Drive is there, along with a load of other stuff. Fantastic Dizzy, more well known on the ZX Spectrum Dizzy originally, although there was a spattering of these games on the Commodore Amiga. Here he is on the Mega Drive. Now you're going through this like treehouse bit initially, and you must rescue all of your friends, all the Egghead family that have been kidnapped in various locations. Pick up objects, avoid getting killed, solve puzzles to get to the next stage. Collect stars as well. Collect those stars, you nincompoop. They go 243 to get, so there's a lot there. Super Thunder Blade from the arcades. Frame rate isn't particularly brilliant here, but for some reason it doesn't need to be entertaining to recreate that arcadey sort of like a feel. Weaving round, a bit like Space Harrier again. Success sometimes is a bit random, but I feel like you've got a bit more control on this one. Big end of level bosses too, which are well worth getting to if you can get your eyes past that awful flame rate on display here. Flicky, back to basics. It's a puzzle platformer game, so one of those cutesy ones. You must collect all of these birdies here. They will follow you once you bump into them and lead them to the exit without getting killed by these awful goddamn cats. Yeah, I know, cats are always in your way, trying to kill your budgerigar. You know this. If you are a budgerigar, then comment in the comment section below. This is a roundup, this is an index, this is reviewed games so far on the Sega Mega Drive 151 to 200. Batman, Revenge of the Joker. There's been a few Batman games about the place. Here Batman looks more like in his Adam Wessel outfit, but it's not based on that. It's based on the cartoon rather than the movies. You have to be a bit precise with some of this jumping there. Power-ups to collect, but good old Batman. It's got dark graphics as you would expect from a movie of or a game of this sort of era. I feel it's doable, but I could get stuck at some statues, so I might need a guide to get further than I actually did in the first place. Batman. Double Clutch, it's a top-down racing game in the style of like Micro Machines or Supercars, if you will. It's fairly slippery to control there. First one of these games like Super Sprint from the arcades. Music playing throughout. It's there to be perfected, and it is a bit of fun. Once again, probably a bit more fun if there's more than one player there, but upgrades there, different tracks, different environments. Yeah, it's alright without being sensational, I would say. Double Clutch. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, based on that movie of the same name. You take out Indy, and he must kill all the baddies again. This guy looks a little bit like Chuck Norris. It follows the plot line of the Last Crusade, where Sean Connery played Indiana Jones's dad in that one. Yes, anyway, I think he's against Nazis again, is he? He quite often was. Game also came out on the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore Amiga. It's best on this one. EA Hockey, whole heaps of fun for hockey players. It moves quite quickly. I was playing it as a newbie, of course, but I didn't score any goals, I don't think, but I did get the idea that with a bit of practice I might be doing. It was quite fun tackling. There you can get your players sent off and being big ice brawls too all the time. Another one where it's probably best in two players playing your friend where you're equally as bad or as good, or at least it's different skill levels, so you can have a challenging game. Mercs, there we go, a bit in the style of Ikari Warriors, things like that. It's from the arcades. 1 to 2 player run and gun super shooting. My favourite games of these was Commando, but this one is just as good as that. Gives you different modes of play as well there, so if you complete it in one, you can do another one separate from the arcades. But yeah, quite tricky, but once you get to learn it, you're okay. And a lot of the Mega Drive games has like a few continues at least, so you can continue where you left off. F1 Circus, top down. I think this only came out in Japan. Moves very, very fast, and one complaint is you don't really see enough of the screen ahead of you for the speed the thing is actually moving. But compete in a whole Grand Prix, set your car up, select what team you want to be in, and just qualify each time. It's amazing F1 Circus. Admittedly, you could try and learn the track, and that might get a bit of style. On the top right there, there's how the track is going, and maybe I was going around a bit too fast. Steel Empire's absolutely amazing shooter, this one. It's got a very steampunk theme. You control some aircraft or this amazing hot air balloon. Great power-ups on this, great different stages, and this is really, really good fun. It's turned into one of my favourite games on the Mega Drive just for the actual theme alone. The difficult level is quite cool. You are going to get somewhere quite a good distance on this. It's known as Empire Steel in some quarters, but highly, highly recommended. Wristar. Now this is a pretty good one. It's in the style of Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic the Hedgehog is a lot better than this in terms of characters. If it flied a lot more. You can grab though on this one to grab sort of like ledges and go up and above, but collect stars, get to the end and the finishing line as quickly as you can. It takes a while to get used to the control system. It's not instantly as playable as Sonic the Hedgehog, but here it is as well as an alternative if you want. Yes, Rugby World Cup, another game that takes a little bit of skill to control. Based on the Rugby World Cup that's going on round about the same time. You can take any one of the nations competing in that. If you know your rugby skills, then well done you. Pass it down the line, set up rucks, do line-ups, line-outs, score conversions, but score more points than your opponent there. There's probably a skill getting a try every time. As a newbie noob, I was running around like a twit, not really getting too far, but you need to persist with it. Fever pitch soccer. Now, there are better football games on the Mega Drive. This one is quite tricky, I found. Here I am, Brazil versus Kuwait, and I think I was controlling Brazil, and I think I lost to Kuwait quite easily. So, in terms of fun, it takes a bit to be perfected. I can't really see much of the screen going up and down. It's a weird sort of like angle. Players look a bit small for it, but there you go. There's Kuwait scoring, beating Brazil. Well done them. The ugliest players in any game. Ghouls and Ghosts, very arcadey. You control Sir Arthur in this. All these games are difficult on any of the systems I've actually played them on. But it's pretty much arcade perfect, this sort of thing. Great music, great atmosphere, and I love it every time, despite I don't get too far. The sequel to Ghosts of Goblins, of course, Ghouls and Ghosts. Most people have heard of this, so they don't know anything about retro gaming at all. Get hit once in your vest and pants. Get hit twice, you're dead, and that's pretty much it. Good luck, Sarafa. Volfied. Influenced heavily by the game Quicks from the arcades. You must claim areas of this screen by drawing a line up and down without getting hit by any of the things inside. If you get a certain percentage, then you completed that and you're on to the next stage. There's a few tactics to be mastered here, but just try your luck, risk going across, and then you go. But very, very addictive this. Come out on the Commodore Amiga as well. I think it was better on the Mega Drive though, to be fair to you. Panorama Cotton, very Japanesey this. I have to admit, I wasn't 100% what was going on, but the frame rate was good. Here we are following a rainbow river. Eventually it'll go down a waterfall and then we'll go to some other area below. Free speed, you can select your witch on a broomstick to go at in this strange fairy tale sort of magical world as you attempt to shoot everything and advance to get as far as you possibly can into this strange domain. I felt like I was tripping a little bit. Grindstormer, another shooter, probably the best one we looked at so far, vertical scrolling at least, on this roundup of the 50. Loads and loads of power-ups on this where you can dominate the whole screen. I really like this one. Grindstormer, not the greatest name in the world for a game, but I thought it was really super cool. I love this thing to bits. Check this one out there, extra lives, big enemies and stuff like that. Eswat City Under Siege. I first played this as a compilation on the PlayStation 3. I think it was Mega Drive Super Hits or something like that. This plays exactly the same, of course. It's a good conversion. I didn't get too far. This guy can turn into a robot at some point if you get far enough, but it's a bit tricky. On stage 2 I got a bit stuck knowing where to go, but I think with a guide I'll get a little bit further there. Here goes an end of level boss going on, I think. Here he comes and shooting him. But yeah, good various of play. Tecmo World Cup. Now this is my favourite football game because it is very arcadey. The players are nice and big, unlike Fever Pitch Soccer, and it's a little bit easier. Probably better, as I say again, with a human player there. But it's a sort of game I could be a bit annoyed. I had a bad day as a kid, overhead goal there, and be thrashing every team and feel good about myself once again. So Tecmo World Cup 92. If you want a bit of fun, you're feeling a bit down, and you want an easiest challenge to win the World Cup, then try this. You will have some great fun. Doom Troopers, there are better run and guns about, but this is quite funny. It's a little bit tricky as well, but again, shoot everything. It's a little bit dark, but a dark palette, a bit like Vectorman 2. That was maybe one complaint of the game, but I could have turned the brightness up on my monitor if I wanted to, but this is how it was meant to be. Some secret areas as well to find. Shoot the robot people's heads off, and why not, and just go further and further to complete the game. Now, talking about hard run and guns, this is the hardest one I ever seen. Contra Hard Corps. It's absolutely brutal. 1 or 2 players. Now, I played I think either the European or the US version. I'm told the Japanese version is a little bit easier, and this you only get 1 life and you're doomed. But some amazing graphics have you seen, some amazing end-level bosses. So I might have to try the Japanese version as a bit kinder on me to see if I can get a bit further, because it is rewarded. Look, there's some great stuff in this game just waiting to be seen. Look at him. take him out, not to dinner. Ranger X, you control this guy on sort of like a motorbike, but he can hover off it as well and use both of them to shoot. They're positioned in the right way. The levels look very, very different from each other. We're in some post-apocalyptic world and we're coming back to try and reclaim the Earth, I think. So Ranger X, here he goes. Don't know what X stands for, maybe X-ray or xylophone. He's like a RoboCop sort of character who can fly along with his jetpack or just drive around in his bike. Olympic gold. Brings you either 5 or 6 events. Here's the sprint, and I found easy. Didn't really get the much joy in the other events. There's archery, springboard diving, but people in the comment section who played it a lot did tend to. So maybe I should have persisted it a bit more. For me, these sort of games are best in the 8-bit era of Daily Top Decathlon, High Sports, and all those. But if you wanted one for the Mega Drive a bit later on, here's one here. It doesn't give you a great deal of events, but it's good enough. There we go for this sort of thing. So there we go. So I hope you liked looking at that. It was a rundown. Check out others in the review playlist if you haven't already. That was a Sega Mega Drive games or Genesis, depending on where you are in the world, 151 through to 200. Yes, we've covered 200 now. Long may it continue. So thank you. Check out the other reviews or the full reviews you see any you like there. I want a bit more information. So thanks for watching again. Thank you for your support. Until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.